Cryptocurrency market still looks like it hasn't moved much. However, when you look at the price closely, it does show you some clues about what it is about to do next. And when you actually follow the news, the narrative, and the price action, it does get more and more interesting, especially with what has been happening with Binance, BNB, and other stuffs. And this particular tweet from Binance makes a difference because now you actually have the code saying this, which actually gives a lot of confidence for the crypto market, especially with respect to Binance. Now, when we look at SEC and how things are actually moving, now we do get an idea here that this is happening. There is no doubt on that front. And we also understand like these old geeks who are like, parasites or Democrats, they're actually trying to kill the innovation so that the Wall Street funders for them stays alive. But once you understand how things are evolving, and especially with respect to central bank digital currency initiatives and Ripple the company, and the way they have been positioning is huge. And then you actually look at the macro and this becomes evident. Central banks successfully test over 30 central bank digital currency use cases, including offline payments. So if you actually look at offline payments and how many transactions per second Ripple can actually do using XRP Ledger, now that becomes even more interesting. But yes, if you are in the market, it does make sense to break things down and to have a better perspective. Welcome to the scientific investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% in crypto. Right now, while you look at the market, we can see the price is slowing down as we spoke in the last video. One of the primary reasons for that is Bitcoin is getting rejected by $27,000. So we understand the fact that this has been a resistance trend line in Bitcoin from like a couple of months, and we are still under that one. But it is positive to see that the pattern inside which we are right now, it is still valid. So that's actually a positive thing to observe. But once you actually go into detail, say especially with respect to that of Ether, to be on the optimistic side, we can say this is like the lowest end of the wick or the standard deviation to the bottom, where we have managed to break back above. But then if you actually ask the question, what if I'm conservative? Then it looks something like this. You go with the candle close. That means you kind of ignore the entire volatility for that day, but goes in with the candle close, which is the finalized moment for that day. And here it seems like, okay, Ether is still falling behind. It is trying to retest that particular range, but it has not yet broken back above that. But yes, the RSI did give us some sort of thinking like, okay, we may actually slowly bounce back up. That is positive. Now, with the Binance issue happening on the optimistic side, yeah, positive news fundamentals are coming in, but the price action does show you what the market think, like the psychology of the market. So we tried to come back up to retest this range of 270. However, we are getting slowed down. But what we are observing in the RSI, it kind of shows us like we are getting a divergence. So if you actually go on a 12-hour chart here and look for what's happening, price is actually forming a lower high at a time when the RSI is forming a higher high. So buyers came in heavy, but they were not able to push the price higher. So it kind of gives you a hidden divergence at that point, which shows we may actually have another leg down, especially at least 220, if not more towards the next level of support, which goes all the way back down to 190 to 200. That is an open range. However, that is also critical for the entire crypto market, because when you zoom out and look for the macro picture, this is what we are watching. There is no denying the fact that we had this pattern which broke to the downside. We retested that, and if we get rejected in next 3 days, remember this guys, if we close this candle to the downside around 200, that is not looking any good for Binance, as a reserve looking at BNB and then for the entire crypto market, because BNB kind of accounts for a lot of their reserve structure, and it also gives you some level of confidence of what Binance as an exchange is looking like. Because if you actually look back towards the growth of Binance coin, I remember the time when we were talking about this in like, $6 to $10 range, accumulating that asset. But right now, even after the drop, it's 240. So if you are a long-term guy, this is what you're looking at. It started all the way from 0.15. Right now, after the drop, it's at 240. That's a huge increase. But if you're looking at the short-term scenario, it can actually get a little more crazier and then head back to the upside. Now, if you actually look at Bitcoin and what it is doing right now for the day, we are slowing down. We are kind of pushing to the downside. So if you actually look at it on the price action side of things, you kind of get to see like, okay, this particular candle was kind of an inside candle which showed you like, okay, we are still waiting for another leg up. However, the current candle is pushing this to the downside, breaking the low of candle close here. So if you actually put that on a line chart, this is how it actually looks. So is it completely bearish? No, we are still inside that pattern. We haven't changed a thing. But then you actually go on a short-term chart and you say like, okay, yesterday we did talk about the possibility forming here, which was a bearish divergence, right? And now the price is slowing down. Not only that, the double top formation, which we talked about, is kind of getting a little bit more strength here because we broke through that level of support. And once we understand the fact that, yeah, that is happening and that is pushing the price to the downside, now we'll also have to go look at the macro side of things. Now, yes, it is just still waiting for the Monday to come in and how the market actually react. We'll literally have to go through the dollar, the index, and the stock market to see like how things are evolving. As markets open across the globe, this is what we are watching. You really don't have much of a strength here, and most likely this is just going to be a retracement, maybe 3 to 4 candles to the upside, but still just checking the previous high and then getting rejected to the downside. So that is still a possibility here in dollar. And while it retraces to the upside, crypto should be slow, and when it actually drops back hard to the downside, crypto should get some level of confidence in the market. Now, going back to what we discussed in yesterday's video, we are still below the 21-day moving average on a daily chart. So we want to see this getting to the upside. We want to see the price closing about 26,500 and giving us some hope that, yeah, we are moving higher. Why is that so? Because when you're on a weekly, we are watching that, okay, the weekly candle just closed, showing the fact that, okay, yes, the price went below the 21-day moving average on a weekly, created some level of panic and closed there. However, that panic was used or utilized by the buyers all the way from 24,800, and they pushed the price up towards 26,800. That's a positive thing. Then the week closed above the 21-day moving average. Look at the line chart. It kind of gives you the scenario we discussed yesterday that if the candle closes like this, that means retest and bounce is coming. So the risk on sentiment, which we discussed here in our previous video, I know for sure a lot of people at the moment would think like, okay, that's a crazy idea. What if we are dropping towards 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, whatever range it is? 20 to 22,000, yeah, that's not an impossible target. It is still valid as targets. But what we need to understand is the pattern which we are in right now. It's completely a consolidative pattern. After the run to the upside, you're doing this. It's completely fine because it's about the time-based correction and the price-based correction. So if you are looking at the reduction in momentum, you'll observe the fact that it's been 70 days, guys. We literally consolidated time and price. So it's more than enough to say like, okay, the weekly kind of closed to the upside. We're still watching some divergence forming on the short-term horizon where bulls are trying to take the control back. But yes, for sure, we'll need to see how BNB actually reacts, because if for a reason BNB gets rejected, now that will clearly show you crypto as a market should slow down, because this would actually go back to what we just discussed about the dollar. while the dollar actually slowly go back up and retest, if it does not break that level, it will get rejected. Same here. If the price actually slowly creeps back up towards 26,700 and gets rejected at that point, now that means you're coming back down towards 25,500. Most likely that's going to be the scenario which we will be watching. Now we look at XRP. Right now we are somewhere close to 0.485 and we are testing the moving average on a 4-hour chart. So if you actually zoom out, look at it on a daily, it does show you like, okay, we bounced off from the first level of support. We came close to the 21-day moving average. We retested that range. We didn't get a follow through yet. Right now, it's just an inside candle. There is nothing to worry about it. But what it shows us is that, okay, next day is going to be really critical. It's going to be really interesting. If the price managed to close above 0.489, that is positive in itself. However, if we come back down towards 0.48, now it is like showing, okay, some level of selling is happening. It is important to look for what the range here is on the weekly, because if the weekly does show you that there is a possibility of 0.44, don't close your eyes on that possibility. It is still going to be valid as a target point for the market. So if you're looking to buy low, do have dry powder, because when the price drops, it does give you a lot of opportunity here. Now, coming back to the entire crypto market, we can either look at the Ether or just look at the altcoin market cap. Both of them kind of look similar. And right here, right now, what we're observing is that we're coming back up to test the 21-day moving average. And as we test the 21-day moving average, we have to understand the fact that yes, we broke through this particular level of support. We have not yet retested that particular range, so that's still open. Now we are looking at the RSI to see like how long we have to continue to the upside. Now we do have some room in the total altcoin market to see, okay, we can do some level of retest here. It's still halfway through. So inside the pattern, you still have some room to run to the upside. But what is more important is to actually focus on BNB as well to understand how things are evolving. Because at one point, it is like, yes, this is 100% positive for Binance as an exchange and crypto as a market. However, what we do want to see is how the market participants digest that information and get back in. If they do come in bullish, most likely we may actually get a light retest of 220 and then a bounce off. That would be a great thing to watch, because right now on a weekly we do see that, okay, we tried to push to the downside but we got rejected. The level of 220 was a strong level of support for now, and it is showing you we are trying to move higher. One thing is the divergence forming here in the BNB. You can actually see the price actually put in a double bottom possibility at a time when the RSI shows you a lower low. So it is like, okay, sellers did come in and push to the downside, but the buyers were really strong. They held their position. So that is like, okay, holding on to the ground and they are ready to do the next level. But on the pattern side of things, that's where it is really interesting to say like, okay, we're still waiting for the retest. So that is going to be some level of patience while that consolidates below this level. If it gets rejected, yeah, wait some more, use that dry powder when necessary, and that's when you will get to make the most. While the price drops and the panic enters the market, you get buying opportunity. So if you want to make sure you get the understanding of all these assets and what they are doing on a regular basis, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.